Welcome to Grey Primer, a show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and this is a very special Halloween episode. I'm going to be featuring Night of the Living Dead, a Zombicide game. Unbox that, look at the components, and review the miniatures, see what's going on there. And while the 1968 black and white Night of the Living Dead isn't one of my favorite zombie movies from George Romero, it certainly is the one that started the whole thing off, so you gotta show it a little bit of respect. It's the movie that really put rotting flesh onto the bones of what we think of as zombies nowadays. It put us on that grim path that we've been shambling along for decades of not only just zombie movies, but also cabin in the woods types of movies as well. And really we can thank it for those too. But what I'm looking at today is a Zombicide game. You know the type of game, you gradually rank up your player, and as you rank up your player, the game around you gets harder. It should contain good quality plastic miniatures and should be fairly slick. And once again, CMON have included a one-player version, so handy if you're stuck in your own cabin in the woods. Like me. And just a moment to pause before the opening credits to admire this wonderful Slay the Grey t-shirt from Ninja. Beautiful. Triggering, but beautiful. Long live the Grey. Alright, hit it. But before I board up the doors and windows and get settled in for some spooky shenanigans in Night of the Living Dead, let's have a look at the top 10 hobby products I found on the internet. Spooky shenanigans. Spooky shenanigans. Spooky shenanigans. Spooky shenanigans. At number 10, it's Nightmare Miniatures Bulbous Army Biting Sticks number 2. How old school do these things look? They're just so cool. The squigs on a stick as well, the goblins' helmets. I just love these so much. At number 9 is Wargames Crew Mechanical Servants by 4. I've seen a few versions of these sort of preparation servitors or servants, and I think these are my favorite. At 8 from Koyo Store is Warhammer 40,000 Mystery Faction Pins Series 2. I really love these mystery pins, and I've done a couple of videos on them before. I'll put links into the show notes below. At number 7 is Weird Games The Other Side Starter Box. This will be available to order in November and features the Court of Two versus the Guild and everything you need to play games of the other side. At 6 from Gear Guts Mech Shop, Brute Bruiser Clan Walker A. This is just got, it looks like a squished down Imperial Knight. Fantastic looking weaponry. Very, very neat. At 5 from Green Stuff World, Children's Toys Resin Set. At first glance this will look very lovely and wholesome, but as you look closer at some of the toys you'll realize they're, a bit of a horror show. I guess it's how you paint them. Like you could put one of these into a pile of rubble in a battlefield diorama and it would just be such an impactful thing to see. At number 4 is RTLW's Da Boom Squad. I love these guys so much. Individually fantastic sculpts, all together just hilarious. Middle of a firefight, they'd be walking down the street like this and you wouldn't know whether to laugh at them or light them up. Really interesting sculpts and I'm a huge fan. And at number 3, Scale 75 bring this magnificent wooden mimic chest. This is beautifully presented. You get a ton of paints in it. You get mediums, brushes, everything you really need. And it is just so beautifully presented. And that's what wins it for me with this, is just how pretty it is. And the runner-up spot this week goes to Puppets War with the Prime Battle Walker V1. There are a bunch of different versions of this, so well worth checking through them to see what suits you. But look at the size of this thing in comparison to a regular miniature. It is standing 6 inches tall. If you look at the cabin area, you can see a person sitting up in there. Big fan of this. I'm going to spend a lot more time on their website, and I'm probably going to bring some stuff to the channel in the near future. And the top spot this week goes to TT Combat and their gargantuan, colossal Orc Mega Bunker. This thing is going to dominate every battlefield. Really good value for money. It goes together really easily. It's built to last. You can throw paint at it. You can drill holes in it. You can tear pieces off it and put them in other places. The sky is the limit with what you want to do with this MDF scenery. Great stuff and well deserving of the #1 spot. And now it's time to return to our featured content, where the unburied dead have gone for a nice walk in the countryside and have stopped off for a bite to eat, with Night of the Living Dead, a Zombicide Game. So this cover jumps out at me straight away for a couple of reasons. It looks like it's done in fine art. It's probably just a filter in Photoshop, but I like to think that somebody painted this, because that's what it looks like, or maybe in charcoals or something. And the second thing really is how subtle this Zombicide logo is here at bottom right. It's really tucked away down there, a Zombicide Game, almost like a Star Wars story for Rogue One. But we've also got CMON's logo, Guillotine Games, Image 10. Everything is very subtle, very tucked away into the corners, leaving all of this space for the fantastic and iconic logo of Night of the Living Dead and the famous and haunting sort of artwork. On the back we have some description of what it is, game contents here, a bunch of miniatures, 66 miniatures. You can play 1 to 6 players in this, which is very cool. 14 plus, even though it's a horror game, it's not really a horror experience, I would say. And yeah, I mean, some cool imagery here, nice. But a clear idea of what's in the box. The way they've displayed these minis is a little underwhelming. They're very small. It gives you a nice clear view of what a game in progress looks like here. We've got the miniatures all laid out above as well. Even though they're displayed in kind of an underwhelming way. I don't know. Doesn't really do much for me. But let's just get the top of this thing off. Pop. So pop is not a Halloween noise. That's not a scary noise. I should have done like a leprechaun laugh as I was taking that off, like something like that. I don't know. Free CMON content, get it here. And you got a QR code and not much else. We've got the manual itself. Got this is the English language version. You can see the US and the UK flags there. We've got Ben, Barbara, Ari Koopa, and summary on the back. A deck of player cards here, character cards. So the unusual thing about this game is that each of the players has 2 modes. It's shown here with black and white. This is like movie mode. Okay. So Barbara has a free move action, so she wants to run away. Ben has a free ranged attack because he's got the crowbar. Harry is he's a taunter and is slippery. That's something you want in your CV. Helen has a search action. She goes off searching for her daughter, unfortunately, and a free melee action. Judy's a sniper. What? And has a free ranged action. Tom has shove and a free melee action, so he just knocks people around. So yeah, that's the movie versions of them, and you can see them here in black and white. And we're going to hop over to the Zombicide colorized versions, and now they get pretty serious. We've got Helen there with a katana, I think. Judy's got a shotgun. Tom's got a flaming banister post. What has Barbara got? Barbara's got a shotgun as well. And you can see all of their actions have just expanded out. You can do a lot more. Much more like a traditional Zombicide character. Okay, just taking Judy as an example here of how these little dashboards work, the survivor dashboards. As she develops her character, as actions happen and she gains points along this heart rate monitor, you can see that it goes from blue, and then as soon as it goes into yellow, she immediately switches up to this one. So she has sniper +1 action. As she goes up into orange, she'll get sniper +1 action, +1 die for combat, plus one free ranged action. And then as she gets up into red, which is her maxed out, not dead, but maxed out, she has all of this stuff here as well. It'll also affect the events that happen in the game. The game will gradually get harder as your characters get more developed. We've got these great little game pieces here. They look like banister posts. So you pop those into your survivor dashboard there for tracking your scores. You got these rings to click into the base of your miniature to show which ones you're controlling. A set of dice here. Oh, they've got a nice maroon tip to them. Yeah, it looks like a sort of a bone white and then maroon. Those are kind of cool. Then we're into the events cards of the game. Probably weapons cards in there as well, different enemy cards and things. I'm not going to open this and have too much of a look at it because it's something I like to discover as I play. I'd like there to be these little surprises. But you can see the one on the back here shows car and then different characteristics. The one on the front are just standard walkers as well with characteristics there. Miniatures are here. Going to get those up in the spinner in a second. And then we have the actual game tiles and some tokens, so I want to have a look at those. Here we have the tokens. We've got the car here, and hopefully you can see the little rings that are marked out in it to show you where to put your miniatures. Looks like you can get 6 in there. I'm not sure, I mean, these are walkers tokens. This looks like boarding or something for maybe windows. They pop out nice and easy. That's kind of cool. This could be down to the basement or something. I think this is Karen Cooper, she of the trowel. Part of the main house. I mean, this house is so familiar to me. I've watched that movie so many times. There's a lot of corn on this tile. The thought of going through the corn with a bunch of zombies chasing you, not sure that's my idea of a good Saturday night. The detail here is fantastic. You see, I mean, the lovely lighting effects on the floorboards. You get this little plant and lamps and stuff like that. It looks like there's a broken lamp here on the floor. Some more images of the house there as well. And I am loving this. It really brings this whole thing to life. This incredible house that is just completely a part of cinematic history now. And then we have the miniatures. Night of the Living Dead branding on it there. Not much else, but on the back, they have done a fantastic thing. I just love this kind of stuff from CMON, where they show how all the miniatures should go in. And all of these minis have numbers underneath their bases, just in case you're trying to work out, well, what makes that one different from that one. They're all numbered. Just turn them over, get the number, pop it back into its slot. They just connect back together, slide in here. Job done. Super quick. So even if they're painted, the numbers underneath should still be there. Unless you're some kind of a maniac that paints underneath your bases. Let's check these out. Woo-hoo. So we have 2 trays of minis. The second tray have had some kind of it looks like some fantastic party. While they've been in the box, they're all over the place. So I am going to get these up onto the spinner, and I will be back in one moment. So here's our first look at them. I like to call this first one the grappler. But there's good detail here, good sculpting and casting, and they're interesting to look at. There's a variety in their actions and stuff. This guy throwing a brick here. You can see the tie moving. Another one of the mostly naked dudes. I call this one Rocky. And then we are into more characters here. There's Karen Cooper, who kills her mum with a trowel. We got Johnny, who's famously Barbara's, I think, brother, who they're driving to the cemetery at the start. And he ends up falling foul because he's just a bit mean, you know, to Barbara. So immediately that means he's going to have to die. Off to a good start. Let's get the next lot in. And before you ask, I definitely do have names for them all. This one is Zoolander. After that is Cheeky or Breezy because he's got no back on his robe. Peekaboo, probably the creepiest name I thought up for any of them. Here we've got Housecoat. And then we're into Postal. And after Postal is James Dean. Yes, so I remembered them all. Wonderful sculpts, incredibly evocative of their real world selves in the movie, and I think they've just captured that sort of lost feeling that these creatures have as they wander the world now looking for living flesh. Just a great collection of miniatures here. You get multiples of each of these. I think 4, 6, anyway, multiples. And they're nicely colored in this greenish, bony looking color. Another great group of ghouls. So here they all are in both their Night of the Living Dead original versions, their movie versions, and their amped up Zombicide versions. And we gotta start with Barbara. And then you go over to Barbara with a boomstick. How cool is that? Ben is a great character. Ben is an even better character with a rifle. And then Judy is always just kind of shadowed by Tom in the movie, but doesn't look like she's shadowed here. Tom himself is running around with knives and flaming torches. Helen upgrades to a samurai sword. You gotta love that. And the irritating Harry, it's now Harry with fire. Ugh. And then we're back around to Barbara. These are cool looking miniatures. These just fill me with nostalgia. They make me want to go and watch the movie again. But back to the components of this game, they're of a very high quality. They seem to be beautifully sculpted. They don't seem to have lost any of that detail in the molding process. A few bits and pieces just to clean up, but it is minimal. The rest of the components are of very high quality. I'm sure the game is going to play really well. It's so heavily thematic that if you're into any of these sort of classic horror movies, you can't help but sort of get a little bit excited about the thought of playing this out, seeing how you would do, because that was one of the great pulls of Night of the Living Dead. What would you do? Who was right? And yeah, here's your chance to prove something you might have had in your head for a few decades, that you could have done better than Barbara or Ben or Harry or Helen. Let's put that to the test. Let's see how you do. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Halloween episode. If you're enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you the next time when I will be bringing you slightly delayed orky goodness, but I think it's going to be worth the wait. Until then, take care and bye-bye.